Howdy, lieutenants and economists.
The most volatile, evil, disgusting things on the planet, humans. If you have a video request, you can always go to assholeconsulting.com.
Yeah, I am gonna charge you, kids. And that is the importance of not fucking up.
You are such an asshole!
assholeconsulting.com. We are banging out the work here. This is a repeat customer. You may remember him. He is the IT engineer out in Finland, and he's like, oh my, I can't, there's not a lot of jobs out here in Finland for an engineer, in my subcategory I think electrical, and my wife doesn't want to leave Finland, and we're, oh yeah, the old wifey poo, she must be really and then it turns out she's a doctor. We're like, oh well, okay, yeah. Like, never mind. So this is a follow-up response. Hello Aaron, I want a video response. I'm a returning customer of yours. You had done a video response for me about a month ago named Masters in Electrical Engineering, Can't Find a Job, Help a STEM Brother Out. My today's question is related to previous one, so I would like you to watch that video first, available on YouTube, and then respond to my today's questions. I show your video to my wife, and English is not his first language. I show my video to your wife and we discuss your advice on moving somewhere else. She agrees that we might have to move out of Finland and she doesn't mind going out and exploring. Thing is, she's a medical doctor and medical doctors need to be very good command of local language to work. She only speaks Finnish and English fluently, so she could only work in Finland or English-speaking countries. Medical doctors needs to interact a lot with local patient and diagnose them according to the conversation they had. Therefore, no hospitals or clinics would give job to one who are not fluent local languages. This leave us with US, UK, Canada, Australia, Ireland, so basically the former British Empire. Which country would you recommend? For a medical doctor, my wife, all are good options. For me, electrical engineering, Ireland and New Zealand are good, but very small countries. They are just like Finland, just 5 million people. And I checked in the Indeed.com website and found that they have very few jobs, which I would like to do. RF or antenna does. Well, let's stop right here. We'll interrupt right here. you got to take what's out there, dude. I mean, I know you'd like to do this one thing, and I would like to do this one thing in economics, but that's not how the real world works. You just got to go where there's going to be a job, and nothing's perfect. If you have it down that narrow, it's going to make an already difficult situation much more difficult. So I would not be looking at this as the #1 goal or objective is for you to find a career. That's a very close secondary fringe benefit type of thing. I would look at this as an experience for you and your wife to go travel a bit and find out where you guys belong in this world. That's the primary mission of this, of which your wife working as a doctor and you working as an engineer, electrical engineer, in whatever capacity allows you to do this. Because here's the thing, I know you, and especially your wife, but certainly you with a master's, I know the vast majority, well, all your education has been dedicated towards very legitimate, respectable professional fields. But at the end of the day, that's not what defines you. It does define, I know it does define you a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's a job. Everybody works to make money, and no matter how rewarding or intellectually engaging or stimulating, all jobs lose their interest. It's not fun. Like, even I just did some economics work, and I'm like, yeah, it's more intellectually rewarding than doing data entry or laying sod. But I'd rather be playing video games or fishing or working out or running or hiking mountains or riding motorcycles or banging my girlfriend. Life is not work. You work to live, not live to work. So if you could reprioritize your aims and your goals, and you want to reprioritize your goals to be life, not to have it be your career. You want your career as an electrical engineer and your wife's career as a doctor to meet life goals, not the other way around. That's horse ass backwards, right? Now another thing that I'm gonna nip it in the bud now because you talk about it later is you're like, well, there's only 5 million people in Ireland and there's only 10 million people in Finland or whatever it is, but compared to the United States and Canada, there's 4 million people there. And you say, so I should apply to where? No. You should apply anywhere you can because You think that, oh, well, there's more jobs there. Yeah, there's more jobs there, but there's 320 million Americans applying for those jobs. So I would not let the population, the nominal population of a country, deter you. So you apply wherever you want. If you think it's Ireland, you think it's New Zealand, go and apply there. And it's not going to cost you anything to apply. But don't let the nominal population deter you one way or another from that. All right, so medical doctors need this leaves the United Kingdom. What country we recommend? For a medical doctor, all good options. For me, Ireland and New Zealand are very good, but small countries. They're like Finland, just 5 million people. I checked the Indeed website and found that they have very few jobs, which I would like to do. RF and intent desire. Canada, Australia are a good option too, but compared with the respective population, they also don't have many job postings in my field of expertise. The UK and US seems to be the best of all, even though they are bigger than any other comparatively after adjusting for the population for others. They also have a large number of job postings and companies working in my fields. The UK is good since we would not need visas. Yes, Brexit would be enforced somewhere in 2019. In that regard, the US is no good. You're overthinking this. Send your resumes out. I understand there's going to be immigration hurdles and HB1 visa hurdles. I understand that. It costs you nothing to send a resume to a recruiter. It costs you nothing. You might as well put a line, a fish line, in that lake over there, and that pond over there, and that river over there, and then like, whoa, I heard there's not many fish. There's some fish, but there's not many fish in that river. Just go put your damn line in the river, put a resume out there, and see what happens. It's not going to hurt you. Even though comparatively, in regards to the U.S. is not so good. Need visa like H-1B and going through the lottery system, and even if one gets the job, there's no guarantee that one will get the visa. This is a really bad system, plus the U.S. has very bad reputation for East Indians. Yeah, I emailed you about that. Look, that's within the IT world. Most people in the United States like East Indians because you fucking have jobs and you're engineers and you don't go on welfare. Most of us like you. Like, come on in. How you doing? But at the same time, I know it sucks. It's our fucking country. Still, it's our fucking country. We'll decide who comes in or not. I know everyone thinks the U.S. is the world's bitch and we should just open it up. But those are that's the unfortunate regulatory immigration law you have to face. Still, send in your resume to a recruiter. It's not gonna. You might as well. It's not gonna cost you anything. And yeah, there's hurdles. There's going to be hurdles for you guys to come here. But I think you might be put on the fast track because your wife is a doctor. You are a master's in electrical engineering. So you're going to be, that's going to help a lot. There is a labor shortage here in the United States. I know a lot of STEM people say no, but that's because they have a vested interest in their jobs. But there's too many kids from the suburbs majoring in stupid shit. So it may not be as bad as you think, and don't let the stories scare you. Don't. Oh my God, they hate it. No, they don't. There's some people whose jobs are under threat. Yeah, but most people in the United States are like, hey, look at The Simpsons, Apu. That's literally the stereotype that we think, because it's true. Except, yeah, Apu does have like a doctorate in computer science. They come here, steal our jobs, they work as cheap labor, replace all Americans, etc. Though these are also said towards Indian communities in the UK, but in a lesser extent. Yeah, but it's no matter where you go, they took our jobs. Look that up from South Park. They took our jobs. That's going to happen no matter what. Don't let it deter you. What would you suggest? Where do you think is a good place to go? To me, the United Kingdom sounds good, but my wife says the U.S. The U.S. is much bigger, and the job market is like 400 million compared to that of the U.K., 70 million UK plus Ireland, and Brexit is going to have an effect on many industries in the U.K., so a bit unstable. Don't worry about Brexit. You're worrying about things you don't control. You really throw a lot of variables that are outside your control, and you worry about them for no reason. It still doesn't change the strategy of sending out resumes. The U.S., however, are very harsh immigration laws and bit negative views about Indian engineers. How much would it cost for the video request? Please shoot me an email. Then I had some other questions. You provide. Well, first of all, no, we don't have any kids. Oh yeah, kids and family. No, we don't have any kids, but we are planning one. Actually, 2 kids with 5 to 6 years gap between. why? After life gets a little more stable. So right now, we are just two of us, me and my wife. We would like to move somewhere where we could say something like 5 to 10 years or even permanently. Of course, we can always return to Finland. Oh, that was my concern. Like, if you guys left, would you be able to be a doctor again in Finland? You say yes. But if we get settled in other places and we love our life over there, then we might never return here as well. I don't blame you for not returning to Finland. It looks cold and just boring as fuck. And socialist. Me and my wife are ideally looking for a nice place to live and raise a family with plenty of opportunities to grow our careers. We could try different countries and check them out as well. And yes, my wife can return to work as a medical doctor again here in Finland. I want a video response. I've attached payment details. Blah, blah, blah. All right, here's the deal. I started doing I did do the analysis on like which countries I think have the best economic opportunity or best long-term stability. And then I also factored in weather because I don't know about you, well, you're East Indian. And even though I found out genetically I come from fucking Scandinavia, I hate the fucking cold. I'd imagine you're not too fond of it either. And there's more than just economic variables that go into this, but for many, many reasons, I would put New Zealand and Australia at the top of your list. Now, I know my buddy Adam Pig is going to disagree with me, but there's a couple of reasons why. One, weather. It's just nicer. 2, low debt. Okay, they have very low debt compared to the United Kingdom, United States, Ireland, pretty much anything in the Northern Hemisphere that is English-speaking has shit economic fundamentals. Now, the U.S. has the world's reserve currency. Don't want to bore you with that, so it might be a little bit more stable, but the United Kingdom, United States, what else? Canada, all debt to GDP over 100. They're all moving into socialist shitholes. The other thing is that demographic stability. This is going to sound horrendously racist, but I'm sorry, we don't have time to be polite and beat around the bush. As a percentage of the population, whites account for 75% of the population in Australia and New Zealand, and they don't have the immigration demographic crisis that you say the United Kingdom or the United States does. And it's not even racial, it's more cultural, where people, oh yeah, come on in, we don't give a shit if you like our country or not, or follow our rules or not. So longer term, more medium term, like 50 years out, what your kids are going to have to grow up in, hate to say it, white people tend to have more stability and economic growth. All right? Not always. We could go ahead and you could go ahead and look at the United States, where the culture, no matter what the race, has been going to pot. Another reason not to look at the United States, even though we got the world's biggest economy. But if you're looking for stability, the capacity for high economic growth, low crime, I would recommend, and no one can predict it, but I'd be looking at New Zealand and Australia, and that just for stability purposes. And then their debts are relatively low. Taxes are a little bit higher than the United States, but the United States, we just borrow the money. So if you look at spending as a percentage of GDP, we're like 38%. It's warmer, it's more stable, the population is more stable. They're not having an immigrant crisis where it's like, hey, everybody from shit countries, come on in and fuck our culture. It's just a little bit longer term where I think you're going to find a place to great fan. After that, I'd recommend Ireland. They have the next best economics. And then after that, I don't know. It's a split between Canada and the United Kingdom. I really wouldn't go there if I were you. But I would look at those three: New Zealand, Australia, and Ireland. Those are the ones I'd be looking at. Now, here's a different plan. Okay, and this is why I recommend you do, although keeping those 3 countries in mind if you have to go. You are actually, look at you and your wife are in a pretty good, unique situation where your wife is making the money. You can't find a job because Finland is not terribly conducive to hiring electrical engineers. But you don't know which country out there is the one that's best for you. Where should we go? You are in the perfect position to be a reconnaissance man. I wrote a book called Reconnaissance Man, but it was about the United States, exploring the different states. You guys have the money and the time and the funds that you could go out and start exploring these different countries may take a while, but instead of running the risk, and this is what most people do when they run the risk, well, let's just move to another country and everything will be better there. It's like, well, what if it's not? You know, what if you go there and you're allergic to the mosquitoes? What if you go there and you find out, you know, they really actually do hate East Indians? You find some genuine bigotry. There's all these. We could talk economics, we could talk climate, we can talk demographics, we can talk immigration all day, but those are only 4 variables, and life has an unlimited amount of variables. What if you find out, oh, New Zealand looks great on paper, you go there and you find out your wife has a horrible allergic reaction to the pollen, and she can't, well, you guys just wasted, you know, thousands of dollars, or krones, whatever the Finnish currency is, and you got to pick up and move again. So what I would do is, since you have all the free time in the world, the very efficient and expeditious use of your time would be for you to go and start exploring different countries. And I'd start UK and Ireland because they're right there. Go and check those out. Take a flight, go there for like, you know, a week and explore. And you're not doing the sightseeing. Don't do the sightseeing. Go and explore, like, okay, ride the subway or the underground. How efficient is their transportation system? Rent a car, drive around. Go to Ireland. Rent a car, drive around. See what prices are like. See what home prices are like. See if you know, you're only one set of eyes. You'd have to bring your wife in. But you can do the initial reconnaissance and scope out the land. And at least for you, say, oh, whoa. You know, I thought I'd like Dublin. Like, I got a buddy over in Switzerland. He hates Dublin. He hates Ireland. I'm like, what's wrong with Ireland? He's like, oh, they're dumb. And like, he just didn't like the people. They're all alcoholics, and he refused. It's like with Wyoming. You think it's very beautiful with mountains, and you get there, and the people can ruin it for you. So that's what I would do, is you go to the United Kingdom and Ireland, check that out. Then maybe go to the well, no, don't do the United States of Canada because it's just so big. Then I'd fly, even though it's clear across the planet for you, I would fly down to Australia and New Zealand. That's going to take a month. All right? So your wife's got to be very understanding. You're like, okay, I'm going to go to Australia and check it out. That's a big country, as big as the United States. So you got to drive around. You got to go all the way to Perth. Thankfully, it's not that big of a population. It's just basically towns on the beaches and then nothing but desert in the middle. But you go out there and you explore around. You check out Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, not Brisbane, Brisbane. Check out the north, whatever. Port something is on the north. Port Willoughby, Port something British name. You go check that out. Then you go over to New Zealand and you check that out. Auckland, Wellington. Say hi to the sheep. Find out what is good for you and what you think would be good for your wife. And then, and this is going to take time. This is going to take time. After you go and explore, and you can be applying for jobs at the same time too. There's no reason that you can't be applying for jobs. Send your jobs out anyway. Throw your seed out anywhere. See where it grows. But I think, especially this summer, especially as long as it's the Northern Hemisphere, and maybe that actually should determine whether or not you go to, okay, go to the United Kingdom, then Ireland, and then while it's warm, come here to the United States and check it out. Go, especially Canada. Check out Canada while it's warm. Then wintertime, and I think you'll be all right with this, then in wintertime, you leave Finland and go down to the Southern Hemisphere for a month, and that's a smarter idea. You check out New Zealand and Australia and see whether you like it there. So this may be a 6-month process, but in the grand scheme of things, it's better that you put up the research and the homework now than, oh, I got a job here, and you don't know where here is. You go there, you find out you guys are miserable, or it works for your career but not your wife's, or for your wife's career and not you. I think it's very wise, although it may take a little bit of time, for you to go and explore and reconnoiter these different countries first, different towns. And it's not like you have to, like, I have to spend 3 weeks. If you go to Australia and you find out there's something that pisses you off, like let's say they really hate East Indians, all right? You're like, oh, fuck this. There's no way I could be. Or you go there and you find out that, you know, you go to New Zealand and you find out that they don't like the Finns for some reasons. By God, they hate those pasty white motherfuckers. For whatever reason, you don't have to stick around like, well, this is not the country for you. You go to Ireland, you find out that what my buddy says is true. They're just too drunk and too crass for your personal tastes. Then you come back home, say, wife, we are not going there. But, and it's not like, hey, wife, I have found the place, and you stick a flag in it. You got to go get your wife and fly her out then next, too. Say, hey, I think I found a town. Let's say you go to Toronto. There's some job offers there. You find out, oh, hey, it's not too bad. You kind of like it. Things work out. Yeah, you kind of, we could do Toronto. You fly your wife out there. She's like, holy shit, Toronto, look at this. This is great. That's what you would do next, is get your wife out. And then you guys kind of know, like, yeah, you think this is it? Yeah. And then you could go ahead and apply for jobs. Or you visit multiple places and just keep sending out your resumes. It's going to be a balance between where you get job offers and where you'd like to live. But hopefully those two intersect in Venn diagram, where you find a place you like, you guys start hitting it with resumes, either you or your wife gets a job, and then one person can actually support the other person while that person looks for a job. But I think long term, this could be really good, because instead of taking a gamble without doing any research, without exploring a place first, and just like, wow, here you roll the dice and hope for the best, you'll at least figure out where you definitely don't want to go. And then maybe you find your nirvana. Maybe you find, oh my gosh, who knew Brisbane was so awesome? Who knew there's a vibrant East Indian culture, and they're always playing cricket. Like, who knew? But that's not going to happen if you just, everything's digital and on a resume and everything looks good on paper and what you read on Wikipedia. So that is what I would recommend you do. So I can't recommend any one individual country. I know there's Australia and New Zealand look better on paper. I know Ireland looks number third or second place on paper. I really don't like the United States or the United Kingdom, even though they're larger and they may have more economic opportunity. Canada, they just elected Trudeau. I mean, fucking Christ. It's really going to be up to, outside of those things, it's really going to be up to your personal tastes and preferences, which are unlimited. But you won't know until you actually put yourself in that country, in that environment. So that's what I recommend you and your wife do. Talk to your wife. See if she's like okay with you going and exploring. You're going to be gone weeks at a time, especially if you go down south to Australia, New Zealand. That's going to take easily a month, and that's work. You got to haul ass and drive, and you're going to have a budget too. It costs money to go and explore all these different places. But that's what I'd recommend. So I mean, on paper, New Zealand, Australia, Ireland. But that doesn't mean you're going to like those places. You're going to have to find out for sure before you start investing and planting roots in those grounds. So, hope that helped out. You guys got questions, go to assholeconsulting.com. We'll catch you kids later. Toodles.